Hello, hello, hello. Looks like we are live. Yes, we are officially live. Hope that everybody is doing well today. Today, we're going to be taking a little bit of time and going over one of the big questions that I have and that a lot of people have asked, and that is finding work. Finding work as a voice actor, going through pay to plays, free to plays, all those websites, all those different types of plays. So, we're just going to do a little bit of a breakdown. We've gotten a little bit of a starter late than usual, but we're just going to do a little breakdown today. And we have some pretty big news. I'm not sure if anybody has really been looking, but we have some big news out of voices.com. CEO. That's one of the biggest things. David Ciccarelli, the CEO of voices.com, he is actually moving on. The CEO of voices.com is he's retiring from the position. Now he's not actually leaving the company in total. He's just moving away from the CEO position, but that's one of the big things that we're going to be going over today. When it comes to voiceover websites like voices.com, voices123, Fiverr, Bulldoggo, or not Bulldoggo, keep them out of this one for right now. Fiverr, Upwork, websites like that, we're going to have a little bit of an issue seeing as can we really trust those websites? Can we really trust the big couple of titans in the voiceover industry? And I am starting to lean more towards no. If you are using one of the big voiceover websites, whether that be Voices, Voices123, Fiverr, put it down in the chat. I'd love to know how many people are actually using those websites. And we actually had a community post, and there are a bunch of people that are actually still using these websites. If I go over to YouTube, set up a post essentially in the community tab so that I could see how many people were using websites like Fiverr, websites like Upwork, websites like Voices. And we have over the last week, 61, we have 23 votes. 61% of people are actually using Fiverr for their full-time work, full-time or part-time work. Only 22 were using Voices, and 17 was using Voice123. So there's a big discrepancy of people who are actually using and getting work from these online platforms. Now, the reasons why I say that we might be a little bit wary. Well, first of all, there have been dozens of counts of shifty things going on voices.com, whether that be pay discrepancies. So you go on voices.com, you see a client listing a gig for $500 over here, and then you get it through your agent or you get it through an agency, or you see them posted online somewhere else and it's for $1,500 over here. So there's a payment discrepancy when it comes to using the website. Things like they don't actually let you not take the clients necessarily, but there've just been a whole bunch of discrepancies that have been going on with Fiverr, whether that's them opening up their AI platform. And one of the big things that we're going to be talking about is with the change of CEO, you don't actually own the business when it comes to using these websites. Whether you're using Fiverr, whether you're using Voices, you don't actually own any of those clients. They are on the platform, and the platform gets the right to allow you to interact with those clients. And that's one of the biggest problems that we're facing. Because when it comes to voices, as a voice over artist who's paid like $500 to be on this platform, you can get it for $199 sometimes, but essentially you pay $500 to be on this platform. Now they're in search of a new CEO. They don't necessarily give a damn about voice acting as much as they do shareholders and their bottom line. So the new CEO that they get in can be a really big proponent of using AI. Let's say they want to go all in on the AI platform. They want to draw as much buzz as possible and push it, push it, push it forward. We have absolutely no say in that, essentially. We are their product. Yes, they need voice actors, but at the end of the day, if that's what they believe is going to make the most money for their platform, then that's pretty much what they are going to do. That's their prerogative. They own the business. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of different voiceover websites that you can look into that have more of the voiceover artist in heart, more of the voiceover artist in mind. Their websites run by people who are actually in the industry versus people who are just using voiceover artists to try and solidify their business. Now, the first one is Casting Call Club. I've been a member of Casting Call Club for a little while. I haven't been using it that much, but Casting Call Club is Essentially, it's made for people who are just getting into the voiceover space. It is a really, really good website. Buford is an amazing person. He's very active on YouTube, on Twitter. You can just reach out. He's a very cool guy. And essentially, it is a website for people who are looking to move more into the kind of animation and the indie space. They mostly have indie, smaller projects. You can get really big projects. But it's essentially if you want to learn a little bit more about animation and go a little bit more into their into the animation space. It is a wonderful website. Casting Call Club is an amazing one. You have Voquent. Voquent, huge shout out. I've been working with Voquent for a number of years. Voquent is completely free. You go on, you upload samples, and they're not your agent, but they work much, much closer to an actual model where they will be looking for your best interest. So yes, they interface with the client on your behalf. That's not exactly my favorite. I'd like a little bit more connection with the client, but they actually work to get you fair rates. They actually work to make sure that you are asked what you want your end price or end rate to be. So let's say they have a client who wants to give you $50 for a session and the client likes you. They'll reach out to you on the client's behalf and be like, hey, have a client, this is their budget. Do you feel comfortable? What is your pricing? You tell them your pricing, they go back to the client, and boom, bam, bizzle, you're good to go. Now, on this website, I've had some absolutely amazing client interactions. I've worked with Budweiser from this website. I've worked with Amazon for this website. I've worked with a couple of NDA projects from this website. But Voquent.com, it's once again another website that is really, really, really working with the voiceover artist in mind. And they signed the Nava agreement, so they're working to not undercut you using AI. They're preaching for transparency in the AI space. Amazing website. What's up, KW? How's it going today? Appreciate all your help and insight. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much on this wonderful Monday. Just trying to come out the gate and get a little bit of information on these voiceover websites because right now things are going a little bit downhill, especially with a lot of them are pushing AI. So I'm glad that I can help wherever I can. VO Planet. VO Planet is another one, voplanet.com. Once again, this is another website. I like this one the most. It is the most difficult to get into, I will say, because of the fact that they are completely hands off, which I enjoy. So essentially, they only allow industry rates. If a client is posting, the client has to select what they need. So maybe they say, okay, I need this on the TV, regional for 3 months. VO Planet will be like, okay, this is the baseline price that you're going to pay. Your budget can be above this, but it has to be this. So they only allow industry rates on the website. That's number one. Number two, aside from that, they also allow you to bring that client off platform, which is amazing. So they don't have an invoicing structure. They don't have a payment structure on platform. It is essentially just a job board that you pay to have access to. You can go on to it. You can be like, hey, okay, this client, they work with Amazon. This is my email. This is my phone number. This is my website, my contact information. I'm going to invoice you separately and I'm going to build this relationship. It is one of the most raw voiceover websites in that regard, where they let you build that relationship completely off platform. And they actually advertise and recommend that you do. They want you to bring that client off of platform so that you can build that genuine relationship with them one on one. VO Planet, absolutely amazing. Now, one of the caveats of VO Planet, they might not have as much work as you would like for them to have. They're not the most active job board. Now, once again, going back to these people loving voiceover artists, working with and for voiceover artists, if you don't have a lot of jobs, you can just reach out to them and be like, hey, I'm not getting a lot of jobs. What can we do about this? Sometimes they offer a partial refund. Sometimes they offer a full refund. Sometimes they just work with you to see what your actual attributes are, because the amount of work that you're going to be getting is going to depend on the attributes that you put. If you say that you are a young voice and you do a lot of singing, if there aren't any jobs for that, they're not going to give you a role fit for a 35-year-old man with gravitas and some gravel. They're just not going to do that. So you can reach out to them because they care about voiceover artists. VO Planet, I've worked with them before. They're absolutely amazing. Now, on to what I hope to be one of the up and coming ones, castvoices.com. If you don't know who Liz Atherton is, highly recommend that you look her up. A titan in the industry, truly one of the best. And she created a website called Cast Voices. Now I'm signed up to this website, and essentially what they're hoping to do is create a platform that is safe for not only voiceover talent, but also casting agents and agents. A big website that is meant for, if Disney wants to cast, they can go to castvoices.com. There are tools made specifically for casting directors, specifically for agents, so that they have a nice, easy, streamlined experience so that they can start getting people online. Instead of just going to an agent, they can go to Cast Voices, an online agency. It is an absolutely brilliant idea. Now, she's also very open and very transparent. Liz has been on numerous podcasts saying that it's not got the forward momentum and the forward push that she would like it to personally have. She's been very apologetic. This is something that takes a lot of time to grow and a lot of time to cultivate. And on top of that, once again, she's given numerous things because of this. She's given free years. Like if you signed up for a 1-year membership, she's given 2 years for free on top of that because there weren't a lot of gigs on the platform. She's given well above and beyond. This is step one in her plan to make a huge online voiceover casting website. So castvoices.com, one of those websites that actually care and have the voiceover talent in mind. And last but not least, we're going to go with Bodalgo. Bodalgo is a professional voiceover job website. They actually require that you submit your demo, fill out your application, and then they will come back to you to say whether or not you have been accepted to the platform. If you get accepted to the platform, you get access to their payment structure where you can start to get jobs and things like that. But they actually go out of their way to make sure that you are a professional and fully vetted voiceover artist, someone who doesn't undercut, someone who has actual experience in the job so that you can give the best experience to the clients as possible. And so that once again, people aren't undercutting people and delivering bad work. Because when people undercut and deliver bad work, that brings lower end clients into the market, people who are willing to settle and willing to accept a not bad sound, but a lower end sound, but they're also going to be paying a little bit less for that sound. So Bulldogo is one of those beautiful websites. Now, this isn't to say that we should be getting rid of the websites like Fiverr, like Voices, Voice123, like Upwork, these websites like Voice Bunny. All of these websites have a place. It's just a little talk today so that we understand the difference between websites that have voice over artists and voice actors and artists and just actors in mind. That's the Baldago, that's the Cast Voices, that's Voquint, that's Casting Call Club. And then websites that really use voice actors as product so that they can just more so get to their bottom line. That might be websites like Voices, Voice123. Now, this isn't to say what you need to think. It's just something that you can keep in mind when you're searching for different ways that you can start finding work online. But hopefully those are like 6 different websites that you really didn't have on your mental so that you can start to think of a couple of other things that you can be looking out for to start getting work. Now, we're just going to be going over some VO news for a little bit. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them down below. There are some wacky VO news articles that came out this week, and the number one of them is Metal Gear Solid. Jennifer Hale was apparently only paid $1,200 for her role in Metal Gear Solid. Now, this is one of the big things that voice actors are really pushing for this new negotiation. Well, it's the SAG potential negotiation. When it comes to things like commercials, you have to re-up your commercial contract. So like if I would give a contract to someone to use my voiceover for a commercial for like 3 months, and then they have to come back and then they have to pay to use it for another 3 months if that ad is successful. And this is one of the absolute best ways that I have to describe this. Whenever we do anything creative, whenever we give our voice to a project, at the end of the day, they don't know if that project is going to succeed. It's art. It's speculative value. You can say that the new Indiana Jones project is going to be successful because they have been in the past, and then it comes out and it sucks. One of the big things about this speculative art is that, yes, we're paid upfront, but royalties and back-end payments are for payments that are due when you actually start to see the success of a project. So when it comes to a cell phone, you can essentially say how much that this phone is going to cost because you know all of the components that went into it. You know the battery, you know the screen, you know everything that goes into it. And then you say, okay, and now on top of that, I want to make, let's say 10%, 15%. It's Apple, so 50% on top of all of that. So I'm going to price this phone at, boom, $1,000. When it comes to voiceover, when it comes to acting, when it comes to any real type of art, we can't say how much it's actually going to cost. We don't know at the end of the day because it's just based on what the market deems it as being valued. So Jennifer Hale only getting paid $1,200 for this role. That might be within the confounds of what the payment should have been. So for voiceover artists for video games, you're usually getting paid about $250, $300, depending on who you are, up. But base minimum, $250 an hour with a 2-hour minimum. That is typically what you're going to be getting paid. So if she worked for, let's say, 5 hours for this, then yes, it would have been right in line with the minimum payment. However, this is a multi-million-dollar brand company, not industry, but video game, Metal Gear Solid. That is one of the things that SAG with their strike is working towards, like getting paid only $1,200 after making millions in revenue. We know that this, saying in September that a game made $176 million, but then paid her an hourly wage that was way less than she wanted it to be. $176 million. Now, this is a team effort, obviously. It's not just off of the backs of one singular person, but that's just something to keep in mind. This is some wacky, wacky news. Now, let's see. There was something else that I wanted to talk about. Oh, yes. So this is a huge one. This is something that you should look out for. This is something that all voice actors, that all actors should be looking out for. There is a special promo. If you look up voice acting on Google right now, there's a website. I'm not going to even say the website, but they are basically listing for unlimited voiceover for, it's all AI generated, for eternity for $50. You pay them $50 and they will provide unlimited AI voiceover. Now, this is something that SAG, this is something that even non-union voice actors should really be looking out for. This is one of the industries that's really going to be taken over. And this is one of the biggest problems that, oh God, Harry Potter narrator. Steven what? I get Harry Potter narrator Steven, and I get articles about Tom Cruise and dental implants. Jeez Louise. Oh, well, that's actually par for the course. So this is one of the problem. Tom Hanks warns fans about unauthorized AI image in dental ad. They scanned Tom Hanks' image and used him to promote a dental product. This is one of the big reasons why SAG is on strike right now. And yes, we might not be union ourselves, but it's going to trickle down to us. The effects of this contract negotiation are definitely going to trickle down and help us in our big way. Like just the fact that they can scan him and use his voice in perpetuity. There's nothing that he can do really legally in order to fight this. And Stephen Fry, that's his name. Stephen Fry had the same thing. He is the narrator for Harry Potter, for all of the Harry Potter books. And a website scanned all of his performances and then redubbed all of the Harry Potter books in AI and then put them out there free of charge. Now, Steven says that is his agents were livid, and that makes complete sense. I mean, all of his stuff basically got nicked. And his whole thing was like, they can have me read anything. They can have me call the storm parliament. They can have me read hardcore porn. They can do anything without his knowledge and without his consent. And that's one of the big reasons why Nava exists. Nava is an organization that is absolutely amazing, and they exist to basically help voice actors get their projects or their voice off of websites when it's been stolen without consent, but also B, help to push a lot of these voiceover websites to have a framework in mind for actually using AI. $50 for unlimited and forever just shows we need to focus on improving our individual performance. Exactly. So I've always been pushing this. I think that AI is kind of overblown in its current state when it comes to the fear that voice actors have for AI performances. And that's just because a lot of the AI right now can't act. It can speak, it's a better text to voice module, but it can't really give that same performance. There's a difference between voiceover and voice acting. Those are two different buckets. When it comes to voiceover, that's something like narrating your text to speech. So let's say there's something. I mean, Apple is doing this right now, and I think that it's pretty cool for the way that they're doing it. They're not using AI, but I still think that it's pretty cool. Someone who has a disability that makes it hard for them to read that type of text to speech, you don't need it to be acted in the most thespian and dramatic performance. You just need it basically read so that somebody can get information across. Those are going to be the markets that suffer very heavily from AI. So your markets like VoIP, your markets like voicemail, your markets like narration for a YouTube video, things like that. Those are going to be some of the markets that really suffer. But focusing on your performance, on bringing reality to your actual reads, right off the bat, that's going to separate you from an actual AI, because right now AI just can't do it. But yeah, they're giving $50 for unlimited access, a lifetime of access to an AI to generate as much text as you want in any commercial property that you want. It's absolutely insane. It is nuts. Now, there's a great judgment that was passed down from the higher courts, at least in the US, that states that if something is created solely with AI, it cannot be copyrighted. So that's something that's huge. So essentially, if I go on to ChatGPT and I write a script for a movie and then I get AI generated voice actors in order to do the whole property, I can't copyright that project. So somebody can just go steal it and say that it's theirs. I hesitate to say steal, but theoretically, AI voiceover is currently stealing. So, yes, somebody can just steal it and say that it's their property. And there is no way that they can really combat that in the court of law, because you can't copyright an AI generated thing. I mean, just look at what the writers were able to get. The writers got some amazing AI provisions. AI cannot write scripts, AI cannot generate ideas, they cannot have an AI write a script and then the writers come and repair the script. But writers are allowed to use AI to assist them in their creative endeavors of writing a script to get ideas and stuff like that. It's just incredible what the writers are able to squeak out. And we'll see if actually, I think SAG got a meeting with the AMPTP on Friday, I think. SAG-AFTRA and AMPTP talks to continue Friday and Monday. Okay, so we're probably going to hear more about this. I'm probably going to make a video about this one because this is important. I know that they said that things were a little bit more hopeful. They made a joint statement a couple of days ago, I believe, and that they're continuing to talk. Since the writers basically got a lot of what the actors were looking for, I don't foresee this going on for too much longer. But who knows? I mean, right now they're in the AI contract negotiation of their life. So one of the big things is when it comes to directors and when it comes to writers, their stake is just as legitimate as actors. It is just as important. But the big difference is, if I have an AI write one script, that doesn't mean that writers can't ever write scripts ever again. But if I have a very good AI replicant of my voice, if you have it of your voice, that can mean that you might not be getting too much work, because they can always just hire on AI Javon and they can do it. So it's a little bit different in that regard. I do think that SAG is looking for even more stringent rulings when it comes to using AI and using AI likeness, which is going to be one of the big things, not only just for voice, but it's also for virtual performances, for holograms, essentially. Like, one of the big things that they were fighting is they wanted to be able to take a background actor, scan that background actor, a 360 body scan, and be able to use that scanned likeness of the actor in background scenes forever in all mediums in perpetuity, and only pay that background actor, like I think it was like $175 for that day. So no need for background actors pretty much anymore, because when it comes to background, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that it has to be completely silent on set, essentially, other than the actual actors who are delivering their lines. So a lot of the background actors that you see, they're just opening and closing their mouth. They're not actually saying anything. So when it comes to a hologram doing that, they can just have a hologram open and close their mouth, and then they overlay the background sounds, the sound design on the back of that anyway. It's not like people are actually talking. So to have people in the background and just overlay sound on it, even if they're holograms, that's one of their whole things. They're like, we don't want to have to pay 1,000 people $100 just to come and not really talk and be on set for hours and then have to feed everyone. So just scan them in and have holograms do it. And that would be freaky. So yeah, SAG is really fighting for a bunch of things. But no, other than that, I mean, oh, here it is. Okay. This is from entrepreneur.com. We'll actually talk about this a little bit before we head off. Creating quality video advertisements for your business can be key to your growth. Audiences tend to be roughly 17% more likely to buy a product after watching a video versus a static ad. This is talking about the crazy $50 forever AI thing. It's a company called MicMonster, is a realistic text-to-speech AI with an expansive library of voices. Wonder where they got those voices from. Normally, it would cost $119 for a lifetime subscription, but you can get it for an exclusive discounted price of $50 for a lifetime. $50. One of the things that makes this so much more dangerous than other websites being that you can actually tune things. So exactly, things like this seem so harrowing. 100%, 100%. And one of the things that makes this a lot different than other text-to-speech AI, with a lot of them, it's kind of, it is what it is. You get what you get. But with MicMonster, you can actually tune things. You can tune the pitch, you can tune emphasis, you can tune speed, you can add pauses, and you can convert up to 12,000 characters at a time. And I was wrong on this one. It's 200,000 characters a month. Now, this is going to run you very quickly, because with characters, I mean, if I use the word and, that's already 3 characters. So it's going to run you very quickly depending on what you're doing. But for $50, you get a lifetime access to this, that you can actually tune things like editing, like pitch, like emphasis. And they have 600 different voices. Holy shit. 600 voices. You can fine tune everything, and you get it for $50 for lifetime access. See, it's things like this that are starting to eke out the lower end of the voiceover market. Like I said, I don't think that there's something that's necessarily too much to worry about at this point in time, only because voiceover AI don't sound that good when it comes to acting things. So like when it comes to your animation performances, video game performances, they don't really sound all that good, because they can't really mimic human emotions, especially the nuance that comes from going from scene to scene when you're communicating with a partner, communicating with someone else. But for that lower end market, that's where I can really see people getting into trouble. But yeah, that's all that I really want to talk about today. Today was going to be a shorter one, because I actually have a project that is under NDA, and I've got a video that I'm going to make. New video should be coming out in the next 3 days. It's about how I got to the next stage in my voiceover career. So from beginner, which is uploading things onto the sites, maybe getting a little bit of traction, starting to get in contact with some people, to actually making this a full-time gig, a full-time 9 to 5 communicating with clients gig. That's the new video that's coming out this week. So wait for that. That should be probably Wednesday, Thursday at the latest. I'm just cleaning that up a little bit right now. But yeah, other than that, oh, you too, Nelson. Have a nice one. And everybody else who's on, have a nice one. And we will catch you for the next live, which should be next Monday. Have a nice one.